Thank you, Madam Chair, dear colleagues, dear Mr. Metz. First of all, I would like to thank the European Court of Auditors for the presented special report that assesses the Commission's activities regarding the Service Directive. From the report, for us becomes clear whether the Commission has adequately monitored and evaluated, and to what extent it has facilitated and enforced the implementation of the directive. The aim of the Services Directive is to create a free market for the services sector. The directive's purpose is to reduce the legal and administrative barriers to both providers and recipients of services in order to make it easier for business and consumers to provide or use services in the single market. According to the directive, Member States are obliged to ensure free access to and free exercise of services within their territory and not to impose any obstacles to service activities. All of the measures envisage creating jobs, boost economic growth and increase quality and choice for consumers. According to the Court, after the transposition period of the directive to national legislations by the end of 2009, barriers persisted, some of which were due to vague drafting of the directive. The opinion of the Court is that the Commission has been hampered to take infringement measures, partly due to a lack of solidity in the legal base and partly due to the length of time necessary for such a legal procedure to enforce compliance. Additionally, it is not yet possible to evaluate the extent to which the expected economic benefits of the directive have been realized because systematic effort hasn't been initiated to compile data on cross-border trade in services covered by the directive before 2014. Regarding the overall assessment and in order to improve the EU financial support to this kind of initiative, the European Court of Auditors presents a list of 8 recommendations. We should recognize that fact that the Commission also accepts all of them. As a conclusion, based on the findings of European Court of Auditors on the implementation of the Services Directives, we can make some proposals as European Parliament and what we can say. On first place, the European Parliament welcomes the Court's report, endorses its recommendations and is pleased that the Commission accepts these and will take them into account in the future. On the next place, notes that a number of economic activities were excluded from the scope of the directive, which turned its implementation into a more challenging exercise. Thirdly, notes that despite the limitation of its scope by the exclusion of provision of some services, the directive has a very broad field of application which required the Commission to have a set of measures for its correct implementation. On the fourth place, while the potential economic benefit of full implementation of the directive is still not known, the Commission should implement a study in order to estimate the output gains in the most possibly reliable quantitative terms. 5. Encourages subsequent inclusions of more sectors in order to achieve a broader removal of sectoral obstacles to market integration, with the final goal of removing of barriers in the internal markets for services and developing full EU's potential for growth, competitiveness and job creation. 6. Considers the Member States could have made better use of the measures provided by the Commission to support transposition, implementation and enforcement, especially by sharing the problems faced in the different stages of the procedure, discussing possible common solutions and exchanging best practices. 7. Regrets that tools as the points of single contact and the internal market information system and the European consumer centres were not sufficiently known and used by business and consumers when having an issue related to the application of the Services Directive. Note that the Commission didn't put in place a communication strategy to raise awareness to those instruments. And 8, and last but not least, notes that the provision of services online continued to be limited due to uncertainties for providers and recipients. Thank you.